Hello, and welcome to another episode of Kingdom News. This is the portion of the show where we have our Kingdom Spotlight. And this week's guest, her name is Tiffany L. Hall, and she has some amazing things that I'm looking forward to her sharing with us this morning. So, welcome to the show, Tiffany.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
You are quite welcome. So, just tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Tiffany Hall, and I live in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I am the mother of soon to be next week. She'll actually be 21-year-old and a soon to be 26-year-old. He'll be 26 on March the 8th to 28th. I'm sorry. I'm married, been married for almost 7 years. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I am the founder of the organization Positive.
Okay, great. So, tell us a little bit about that play on words positive. How did that organization come
Um,
to? What is your focus?
yeah. So, with Positive, it's a community based organization. So, one of my primary initiatives is the domestic violence awareness because that's where my story generated from. But I do other things, a focus on reentry into the community after returning from prison, jail, focus on education, women's empowerment. That's my main thing. I think women's empowerment and being a survivor of domestic violence go hand in hand. So that's my main thing. Women's empowerment, anything that has to do with women, empowering women and domestic violence are the basis.
Okay, good. So let's go into a little bit about your story, and you say survivor. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit how you ended up in that situation, because oftentimes people don't really understand how women end up in those situations. It's not something where it just is automatic in most cases, it's gradual. And so you find
Mhm.
yourself in a situation, and then you're like, but wait. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Sure. So for me, ironically, being on the other side of healing, I can look back. The situation, it happened with me in 2005, and I was stabbed as a result of domestic violence. Nearly lost my life. I have some scars and some stab wounds in places that I really, um, I could have died. I could have died. We're just gonna say what it is. And through that time, from 2005 till now, I had to really look back at the situation. That was one of the reasons why I just really started talking about it again. I realized that I needed to heal. I used to speak about it before. And what I came to realize is before I wasn't speaking from a healed place.
Mhm.
And the place that I was speaking from before was a place of anger, a place of not knowing, a place of not understanding. So again, when I started speaking about it again, when I found it positive, I was speaking from a healed place, but I had to do some work. The work consisted of, just like you said, it didn't happen on that day all of a sudden. I had to be honest with myself. There were some things going on in our relationship that led to that day in that moment. Um, and again, being on the other side of it, I had to be honest about that. I had to be honest with myself about that. One of the things that I do often tell women, we reconciled afterwards, ironically, and ooh, it was rough. It was rough, but again, it was something that I had to go through. If I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be able to do what it is that I do now from the space and the place that I do it now.
Right, exactly. So there is a difference of being a survivor and then being a survivor and being able to continue a life and thrive. And
Hmm.
so that's what happens when you start to operate from that place of heal. So how long were you in this relationship before it got to that point of you actually basically almost losing your life as a result of violence?
We were in and out of the relationship for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay. And so when this incident occurred, was this like the first issue or incident that occurred?
Yes, it was.
Wow. That now see now you really now you've piqued my interest for real
Hmm.
because in a lot of cases you'll find that there are little things that lead up to, that first act of violence,
Hmm.
um, it could be verbal abuse,
Hmm.
emotional abuse, the tearing down of your self-esteem. Then it usually, it might go to like a little shove or so yours just straight escalated to that
It
situation.
escalated. Yes, it escalated. And I think that's one of the things that with my story that makes it so powerful and it makes it so unique. I didn't fit the profile of a victim of domestic violence. So when this happened, it happened so drastically and it was so dramatic. Um, in essence, I believe that the journey was one that God needed to be in the midst of it. And my dependency on Him needed to be in place and intact and tested. It had to be, and it was tested, and it has been. It has been tested.
So you said you actually reconciled with this gentleman. Um, was this like immediately after? Was it years later, more recently? Because you said this took place in
It was
2005.
year. It was years later. It was years
Okay.
later. He went to jail for what he did. Yeah, he went to jail for what he did. So it was years later.
Okay. And
And
what
let's
was
clarify, it's not who I'm married to. Let's
oh,
clarify, it's not who I'm married to. So
so how did you get to that place where you were able to actually, I mean, you said reconcile. I mean, so a part of that had to be forgiveness. How did you get to that place?
mhm. It was radical forgiveness. One thing I know what I serve, and we serve a God who believes in forgiveness. I believe that this was the ultimate test of forgiveness. Um, it happened to me for me. So I don't think that it was just about me. I think it was about just being an example of, at that time, I had been in my church for some years and my spiritual foundation was strong. So ultimately, this was the ultimate test of forgiveness. And for me, not necessarily the reconciling, but just being able to be in that space with that person and have a life again. Again, I didn't go to counseling. When I did seek help, one of the things that set me back, I went to an organization and their biggest issue was that we had reconciled, and that was their focus. How did you reconcile with somebody who tried to kill you? And for me, that became a point where I went back into my shell, because what I needed to hear, what I needed to know, I needed the tools so I could navigate. Like I said, I had never been through this. So I needed the tools to be able to navigate through what it was I was feeling. I needed to be able to talk to somebody about what I was feeling. When I look back, hindsight again is 2020. Maybe if I was provided with the necessary tools that a victim of domestic violence needs, where I didn't feel like I was being judged or feel like my decision making was questioned, and somebody just listened just listen to what it was that I had to say. And, not said, how'd you go back? Why'd you reconcile? Because in turn, my question then begins, if you have a life with somebody, you tell me how you turn that switch off. This is somebody I had been in a relationship with. We had a life. How do I turn that love switch off? So when you reverse it and you ask them that question, they look at you like, well, this particular instance, they looked at me like they didn't even know what to say. So from there, like I said, I went back into my shell, and everything that I was feeling, I kept there. I kept there, and I struggled. I struggled with it. I struggled through it.
How long was it before you ended up actually going and seeking counseling?
I've never gotten counseling. That's why I said
Wow.
I've never gotten counseling. To this point,
I,
I've never
okay.
gotten counseling.
I thought you were saying initially, for years that you didn't, but at some point you did. So was your reluctance? I
No,
mean, is that
I've never.
is that something that you feel that at this point it's not even something you need, or are you still in that place of concern
No,
of how someone might respond to you?
no, no. I haven't had one of the things that through positive, I have people reaching out to me all the time. Being that I didn't seek active counseling, like I said, when I did seek counseling, I didn't feel as though I was getting what I needed. And just that initial interaction turned me off. It sent me into a whirlwind. There are a lot of women out here who become victims of domestic violence. They don't leave after the first incident. They don't leave after the second incident. They don't leave. Time and time again, it happens. If you go to an organization or you go seek help, and the first thing that you feel like is they're judging you because you stayed, they're judging you because you didn't leave. Ultimately, what are you going to do? You're going to stay in your little bubble and you're going to continue, unfortunately, to deal with it until you find a safe space. For
Yeah.
me, it was prayer. It was prayer, and I mean honest prayer. And it was getting deeper into my faith, and um just things along the way started to happen, and I began to see, certain things. And I would just say, I'm going to be obedient no matter what it is that I'm shown. No matter if it makes sense to me or not, I'm going to be obedient. And that's the course that I've taken. And like I said, I have women reach out to me all the time now. Thank you for telling your story. This is what we needed. One of the things that I try my best to do, number one, whoever reaches out to me, I keep it confidential. I don't share that information, but I try to be for someone else what I needed. And I think that that's important. Sometimes we get caught up in titles and we get caught up in who people are, when in essence, all we need is just somebody to be what it is we need them to be.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, for someone who might be connected to a woman that is in a situation of domestic violence, that, it's happened once, it's happened twice, and, this is a family friend, or, even a relative, a daughter, whoever it might be, what tips and tools would you give that person to try to be able to assist the person that is in that abusive relationship?
Be an ear to listen, be a shoulder to cry on. This is one of the most difficult things I've come to learn as an advocate and speaking with different women. Some women are gonna stay, and from our perspective, and even as a friend, we may see it and we may judge it, and in our eyes, it may be for all the wrong reasons. I've come to learn, just be present. Just be present until that person, it could be male, female, transgender, whatever the situation is, just be present. You can't make anybody do anything despite how you may feel. Again, everybody's reasons are different for staying. You have some women who, since the beginning of their relationship, their partner, their husband has been the sole provider. They haven't worked, certain things they haven't done. Just for example, this goes on, the abuse happens. Now all of a sudden this friend is going to tell you to leave. That's the only thing she knows. So I would just say, as a friend, just be there. Be that safe space, be that cushion, be the person who will catch your friend, or that just be there. Be there, just be there.
So it sounds like you're saying just have a listening ear and an open heart to receive them in a manner that's non-judgmental, and
Yes.
less time trying to convince them of their wrong and more time just loving them and supporting them.
Yeah, because necessarily they may not be wrong. What makes what they're doing wrong? Because it's not something you or I would do. So it's not necessarily that they're even wrong. It have their reasons. So for me, I wouldn't say that anybody is wrong. Everybody's situation is different. Again, I'm at a place where that's not for me to judge. I listen. Like I've spent 3, 5 hours on the phone with women just listening, and that's all they want is just to listen, just to feel normal, just to have a conversation, just to make that connection and say, you know what, Tiffiney, I remember when, I might say something, I did feel that way. So again, just listen and just be there. And if you can't do that, woo, sometimes it's hard. You may need to reevaluate where you are in the situation as a friend. It might be something that you may need to remove yourself from.
Yeah, that is an extremely, I know for me, I'm definitely pro women empowerment. So, and that would be an extremely difficult situation for, as a therapist, as a counselor, as a coach, to just listen and not want to encourage and
Mhm,
want better, because it's not so much, I don't know that it's so much judgment, but for the people who we love and care about, we want the best for them. And
mhm.
being with the through our lens, the best can't be you being in a relationship where you end up in the hospital, every other month. And so I don't know if it's so much of us judging, but it definitely is a difficult place for someone on the other side looking in to see it and not be upset by it, not be disturbed by it.
But you may be upset. You can very well be upset. But again, what I'm saying to you is remove yourself from it. Remove the therapist from it. Remove the professionalism from it. Go into it with your authentic eyes. Don't go in there with your or anyone the preconceived notions of what should be. Everybody has a reason for doing what they do. The one thing that I would encourage and I would say is, again, that's where self-care comes in and knowing yourself. If it's something that you're not able to do, because you may cause more harm than good.
Mhm.
And again, you may not be in a place to do it. Not everybody is able to do that. So for me, and like I said, because I've been through it and I know what it is that I needed, I see it from a unique perspective.
Mhm.
So I am able to just listen. And again, I would never say my main question for anyone is, are you safe? Are you safe? Do you feel like, your life is in danger? That's question number one. If you feel like your life is in danger, or you're not safe, your kids aren't safe, okay, you come up with a plan for how it is that you're going to exit and let me support you. Again, that's not for me to intervene. No matter how much you love someone, we have to come to a point where we accept in life some things are going to be what they are, and we cannot fix everything.
So, how do you handle a situation? This is good, and I'm just keeping it real with you. I personally,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
I
just keeping it
appreciate
real.
that. Yes.
I have not
Hmm.
experienced a situation. I deal with a lot of women in a lot of situations. I have not counseled any woman directly, honestly, that has been in a situation of domestic violence, or if they have, they not, have not shared it with me. So if a woman, because I'm just so, if a woman, you ask the questions, of course, you go through the series of questions, and one of them is, do you feel safe? Are you safe? Are your
Hmm.
children safe? So when the response is, no, I don't feel safe
Hmm.
and I'm concerned, do you take a different approach, or do you still kind of be like, well, you know what? I'm kind of just going to still listen. Like, do you still take that same
Yes, you
approach?
still listen. Yes, you still listen. First thing, what is it? Is there something that I can do that will help you feel safe? Are there resources? Is there something that you need? Are you in a position to leave? Some women aren't in a position to leave. So what is it that you can do? Again, prime example, because of COVID, a lot of organizations weren't able to provide the resources that they would normally provide. So you saw an increase of domestic violence. Um, and unfortunately, you saw a increase of instances where women lost their lives as a result of domestic violence because of the isolation. If you had someone that, when it's safe, that you can send a text to, that you can call, when you have some free time. He goes to work. Again, it happens in all instances. She goes to work. If there's somebody that you can have a conversation with just in that moment, just to say, you know what, I'm here whenever you're ready, whatever you need. I've had women who, all hours of the night, I'll find out on the back end after they find out, that I am a resource. I'll find out on the back end, I left my home in the middle of the night. And I always say, well, please keep my number handy. The least I can do is pay for a hotel room for you for a night or two, so that you can get your head together and figure out what your next steps are, what you want to do. So that's what I mean when I say being safe. It's not to us to go in and rescue anybody, because we may make things worse. Again, just being there, just being there.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Again, I'm just asking because I'm sure I'm not the only one that would feel that way in that
Mhm.
situation, and people need to understand the repercussions of their actions. In their mind, it might be going to the rescue and saving, but in all actuality, it may make the situation even more severe than it currently is. So that is really good information. Be present and ask the person
Mhm.
specifically what they're in need of, what it is that you can do to specifically help them, and wait for their response and not just react based on your
On
emotions.
your feelings, right? Because it's ultimately, it's not about you. I think one of the things that, for true healing to come about, is you need to navigate your healing, and I'm here as a support system. But if I see it's a situation where, you're banging your head against the wall, it's my responsibility to say, hey, you know what, that may not be the best thing to do, and just be there as a wall for, again, I'm leaving. Okay, where are you going? Financially, let's come up with a plan. I live in an area, we're a capital city, and one of the most ironic things about being here, we don't have a lot of places, safe houses where women can go when they're ready to leave, which is, it's ironic, but we don't. You know, it's it's not something that's normal. We don't provide women with their shelters, don't get me wrong, their shelters, but specifically when it comes to issues and incidents of domestic violence, there's nothing that's solely, in the middle of the night you need to go, you're leaving your relationship, pick up the phone, you can come to Positive House. I'm gonna put that out in the atmosphere. We're gonna see what
Yes,
God does with that. So we need more resources, but until that happens, be present. Be present.
that's good. That's really good. So tell us a little bit about some things that you have on the horizon.
Woo! I feel like it's funny. I have so many different projects taking place, and I have friends and family members. They're like, "How do you do it?" And I still work. They're like, "How in the world do you do it?" I have a brunch coming up in April 23rd. It's called the Big Hat Brunch, and I'll be sharing some more information about that this week. My keynote speaker is a young woman who, her name is Jillian Sumter, I'll just tell you. And she's a young woman who bridges a generation. She's right there where, she can connect to the younger generation and the more seasoned generation. And I've just watched her journey. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I want you to share. So she's our keynote speaker. I have the nurse in me, so I am by profession a nurse. In May for Nurses Week, kicking off right here in Pennsylvania at the state capitol, we're having a gala and a rally. That's May 7th and May 8th. So I'm excited about that. What else do I have going on? There's some, I'm running for state rep. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. That might be my biggest anxiety right now, because here in Pennsylvania they did some redistricting, so they redrew the lines in our districts, and it's not settled yet. So we haven't started petitioning, we haven't started campaigning. So that election is May 17th, but it allowed me some time to get this campaign together. Like it's ready to go, like a well-oiled machine. Like I'm in my office space now, but our house, our living room, that's my campaign center. And whenever they say, "Hey, we're ready to go. These are the lines. We're going to hit the streets." And this is a grassroots effort. Yeah, this is a grassroots effort. So that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
Okay, we're gonna go. I'm gonna take you all the way back to the first thing. So you said it's a brunch. Tell us a little bit more about the brunch and what the
It's called
goal
the
is.
Big Hat.
The Big Have Brunch. Okay, so what is that about? Tell us a little bit more. And
So
you do
I
have the date for it already?
yes,
Okay, so
the
tell us
date
what it's
is
about.
yes, sure. So the Big Hat Brunch is basically a women's empowerment event. We say that women don't support one another. We're not in these spaces where, we vibe with one another. We always think that, there's an issue amongst women. So the Big Hat Brunch is an opportunity for women to come together, put your big hats on, get dressed up, and just be amongst and in a community of women where we want nothing but positive vibes for each other. We want nothing but the best for one another. So, trying to encourage that sort of environment amongst women. And again, that's April 23rd. And it's called a celebration of life. So it's 3 days after my birthday. So I've been telling everybody it's a big birthday party. Is how I would want my birthday party. So essentially, that's what it is.
And so that's going to take place in the Pennsylvania, somewhere in the Pennsylvania area. Is
I'm
that
sorry, say
taking
that again, Gwen.
is that taking place in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area?
In Harrisburg.
In Harrisburg.
Yes, it's
Okay.
in Harrisburg. Yep, it's in Harrisburg.
All right. And then you mentioned about being a nurse and you're going to do a rally.
Yes,
So tell us about that. That's taking place in May. Tell us a little bit more about
yes.
how that all came to be and what the goal and purpose of that is.
So one of the things that COVID's brought a lot to light in the area of healthcare. So being a nurse, we saw an increase in issues that we've been dealing with, but they just came to light. So two of the issues that I have a Facebook group called Nurses Rock. And two of the issues that we focus on is safe staffing ratios and violence in the workplace amongst, with nurses, CNAs, healthcare in general. The rally came about because we're tired. We're tired. A lot of facilities, hospitals, we're working short staffed, and we step up. We do what we need to do to maintain and take care of our patients, our residents, and it's hard. So I just wanted to do something to just celebrate nurses. So, again, decided Nurses Week this year, I was going to do something right here in Pennsylvania just to kick off and celebrate nurses and, allow some time for us to come together, take our scrubs off and have some fun.
That's good. Nurses definitely do not get the accolades that they deserve. You guys work extremely hard, extremely long hours, and are very knowledgeable in a lot of cases. I know I've had situations where I feel like the nurses were almost more equipped than some of the doctors. So
Mm-hmm.
you guys
Mm-hmm.
definitely don't get the respect and the credit that you deserve. So that's great. That's going to be a really good thing. And so
Yes.
now this run. So we're going to go into a little bit more about that. So you're a nurse, you're advocate for women who have been through domestic violence, and now you're running for office. How did that come to be?
Ooh, crazy. I'm crazy. No. I would be out, I'm out in the community, and I love being in the community. I love being at the grassroots level. Um, there are people, if you want to know something, get out in your community. So it just so happened here in our area, like I said, they did some redistricting. Let me tell you, um, I don't mix God with politics, but I do say that God said I need to put an exclamation point on your story. I need to put a lot of exclamation points on your story when you tell it. So it was brought to my attention last July, and I said something to my husband about it. And my husband was like, "You should." And I was like, "What?" I thought my husband would have been like, "No, you're not. Don't even think about it." My husband said, "You should." And I was like, "Oh, okay." He didn't discourage me. And he was like, I support you in anything. That's one thing. I could say I want to go skydiving, no parachutes. He's like, "Let's go." He's one of them. I'm like, "What?" No. So he's one of those type of people. Like, I'm supporting my wife. So I prayed about it. God, if this is what you want me to do, I need you to show me. I need you to make it clear to me. And along the way, some things were taking place. I was like, "God, are you serious?" Like, that's how I talk to God. I talk to God like I'm on the phone with one of my girlfriends. You got to communicate with him however it is that you communicate with him. And that's how I talk to him. God, are you serious? You really did that? And with the redistricting, what ended up happening was the area that I live in is a newly established area. So it doesn't currently have a person seated in as a state rep. And I was like, "God, are you really serious?" Like, he parted the water. Now, I do have, opponents that I'm running against. And, kudos to anybody who's willing to put their name on the ballot and, run for public office. So there are other people that are running for this particular seat. But, me specifically, it just fell in my lap per se. And I just said, "You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it."
Well, good, good. Wish you all the best with that. We definitely need people in all positions, political offices that truly have a passion for the people and not necessarily there to push their own political agendas. It should
Mhm.
definitely be people first. And unfortunately, we don't see a
Yes.
lot of that now. We really don't see. Everyone is coming with their own agenda and their own ideas, and it's really not about the people. And we really
Mhm.
need to get back to the people. I
Right.
don't care what party you're a part of. I don't care if you're independent. The bottom line is we need to be about the people, because at the end
Mhm.
of the day, that's who matters. That's what matters are the
Yes.
people. So I
Yes, I agree.
definitely wish you all the best with that.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
Tiffany, tell
Mhm.
us, how can people get in touch with you?
Sure. So I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, Tiffany L. Hall, and it's Tiffiny. I'm on something else. I'm on TikTok. Oh my gosh. Yeah, TikTok. I have young people, so I'm on TikTok, and that's I am Tiffany Hall. And my website. My website is www.tiffany, again, Tiffiney,
And on that website, is that where people can get more information about your positive?
Yes. So right now, it's funny because at 11:11 today, I just posted and I just shared. There's actually a positive affirmation ebooks. So I'm in the process of a 20-day fast. Just started a 20-day fast. I work out with a group of women every Monday, and our trainer, she's with FemPower LLC. Her name is Crystal Turner Childs, and she challenged us to a 20-day fast. So I said, during this 20-day fast, I need to do I need to do something. So I was doing a fast at the beginning of the year with one of my mentors, Brian Majors, and I failed it. I forgot day 3. I'm sitting and I'm eating Cinnabon. I was like, oh shoot, I'm supposed to be, so Brian was like, oh, you can always start again. And I was like, I ain't starting again. I'm not starting, I'm gonna just leave it alone. So in the midst of this 20-day fast, so just looking at providing some positive affirmations, some things that will energize us. There's so much, like you said, so much negativity. Um, I felt like this was the time. So, during the course of this 20 days, there are 20 affirmations out there. You go to the website, the ebook is there, and just begin to put these practices in place. I believe that practice makes permanent. So we have to start somewhere. Have to start somewhere.
Yes, we do. We absolutely do. Well, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much for joining us this morning. Again, I wish you all the best with your Candace's, with your run
Yeah.
for state representative.
Thank you.
Uh, Wishing you all the best also with your organization as well, that it will continue to
Thank
grow and
you.
that you'll be able to have an impact on the lives of women who are not just in the midst of situations where they're encountering and dealing with
Mhm.
domestic violence, but those who have also come out of it. Because, like you said, there is a process to healing, and everyone needs to
Mhm.
go through that process to be able to become fully who God
Yes.
wants us to be. So I wish you all the
Mhm.
best with that and with all of your
I thank you.
endeavors. And so thank you again for being here.
Thank
And
you.
thank you all for tuning in this week to our Kingdom Spotlight with guest Tiffany L. Hall.
Thank you.
I have a question for you. Are you tired of being stuck? Are you tired of year after year making goals and plans to accomplish something and it just doesn't seem to happen? Are you tired of not being supported in your dreams and your goals and your vision? Well, I have an opportunity for you. I want you to consider becoming a member of Success Arise Academy. This is a membership that is designed with you in mind. It provides education, inspiration, and transformation for you to be able to achieve those goals and become everything it is that God has created you to be. This is a membership program designed for women to be able to also come together and encourage and support one another. So if this sounds like something that you're looking to be a part of, I want you to visit www.successarise.com because it is time for you to move from stuck to unstoppable. Welcome to what's happening in the kingdom portion of the show. So I want to start with this wonderful news about Jacqueline Carr. She has officially released her skincare line at the end of February. This release first took place on February 18th, which was her initial skincare line, then followed up at the end of the month by her hair care line. Her products are all available at www.jacquelinebeauty.com, and it features all natural ingredients that Jacqueline Carr uses herself for hair care and skin care, for women who want a streamlined system, she says, of effective products to meet their beauty needs. And so this is a long time goal and dream of hers. So congratulations to Jacqueline Carr for the release of her new skincare line. Also, in recent news, Pray.com, which is the world's number one app for Christians today, which is surprising because I guess I'm out of the loop. I never heard of it. Uh, has introduced Grammy Award winning global entertainer and entrepreneur Lecrae as its latest ambassador. And so this collaboration with Lecrae will allow him to release several new content series led by Pray.com website and mobile app. It is going to be called Transform Yourself. This is a 7-part meditative message of mindfulness and faith to reduce everyday stress and improve their relationship with God. While an additional 7-part motivational prayer series will aim to inspire listeners in the morning to lead a productive day. In addition, Lecrae has narrated Hope in a Dark World, a Pray.com bedtime Bible story centered around Noah's Ark that helps parents and families share lessons with children about having faith in tough times. This sounds like a wonderful project. It is so important, first of all, for us to remain in prayer, but to be able to be guided and to have these positive messages be able to go forth from Lecrae. I think this is a great collaboration. So all the best to Lecrae and Pray.com for that project. Listen, I know I'm a little behind because the interviews the last 2 weeks have been so good. I couldn't cut them short, but I don't know if you all got to catch Mary Mary as part of the Super Bowl performances. They did an amazing job. So kudos to them for that. And so that is just some of the latest news happening in the gospel arena. So now I just want to take a few minutes to move into the Kingdom Purpose TV and radio latest information and news. So I talked about it a little bit last week. I showed a little video clip, and I'm so excited about what Kingdom Purpose Television is doing under the leadership of Bishop Vernon Matthews. He has taken a huge step and moved KPTV. Not only the show will be on air, shows will be airing on Kingdom Purpose TV, but it also will be airing in the metaverse. So for some of you might, well, what does that mean? So this is a whole new level of entertainment that is an interactive way for people to be able to come together. I tried it out about 2 weeks ago. You know, it takes a little bit of used to getting used to, but it is an amazing experience. I'm excited about the fact that myself and two of my other KPTV hosts will be launching a show in the metaverse focused on talking to the sisters. And so it is really, really exciting. I am looking forward to seeing all that's going to happen with that. So if you want more information, you can visit www.kingdompurposetv.com. When you get to the home page, you will see a section that is dedicated to giving you more information about what this metaverse is, what is required to become a part of it. So if you want more information, go check it out there at www.kingdompurposetv.com. Like I do every week, I would like to give you some information about some upcoming radio shows as well as TV shows that will both be airing on the platform. So, new radio shows, these are all shows that will be on the radio. Miller's Media with Pastor Derek Miller is coming to KP Radio, and you can catch him Tuesdays at 6 p.m. That's every Tuesday at 6 p.m. So let's welcome him by tuning in. Also coming is Possessing Your Moment with Gavin Clark. This will be coming on Saturdays at 10 p.m. Also to radio is Nation Shakers Live Outreach with Pastor Isaac Wilson. This will be coming on Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Kingdom Radio. Also on the radio, new to the platform, is Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire, receiving a fresh outpouring of the Holy Spirit. This will be hosted by prophetess Aaliyah Mack, and this will be coming on at 7 a.m. every Monday. So check out those new shows that will be airing on Kingdom Radio. New to TV is Manifestation of the Word Ministries with Prophet Jeremiah Rye. And I just realized I do not have the time there, but that is a new show coming to the platform. And finally, we have the 10-minute word with Alice Brown, and she will be coming on every Friday at 2:20 p.m. So that's some new shows coming to Kingdom Purpose TV as well as Kingdom Purpose Radio. I encourage you guys, if you're interested in becoming a partner, to go to the website as well and check out the information to be able to become a Kingdom Purpose TV partner. We're going to really start moving with some of the perks and programs that are associated with the partnership. So visit the website and get more detailed information about that. Also, before I end, this is the beginning of a new month. We are in the month of March, and January may have been a little crazy in February, but listen, I want to encourage each one of you that might be listening that we are in a new month with new opportunities. And so let's embrace this new month with a new attitude, with a new hope, with a new excitement of all that God is going to do over the next month and for the rest of this year. You know, I always speak about having a positive mind and being able to speak those things that are not as if they already are. It makes a huge difference in our lives. You know, life and death is truly in the power of the tongue. So no matter what January may have looked like or February, I want you to begin to speak to how wonderful March is going to be and how things are going to turn around for you, whether it be a financial situation, a health situation, a situation on the job with your family. I want you to speak a light to that situation and declare that God is going to turn that thing around for you. And by the end of March, it's going to look totally different than it did at the beginning of March. So I just want to encourage you and offer you some hope that, you know what, no matter what it may have looked like, no matter what it's looking like, God is still able to turn that situation around. And so, as usual, I thank you guys for tuning in. I'm always looking to share information about what is happening in the kingdom. And so, if you're doing something special for the kingdom, to enhance the kingdom, to empower people, to educate people, please feel free to visit my website, www.successarise.com. When you get there, you will see a banner for Kingdom News. You simply need to click that banner, and when you click the banner, it's going to take you to a jot form. Fill in your information. It will come directly to me, and I will reach out to you to try to schedule you for an interview. So you may have a conference coming up that you want to talk about. You may have a book that's being released. You may have a nonprofit that's doing some wonderful stuff in the community. It doesn't matter as long as you're making an impact and you're doing something for the kingdom. I'd love to have you on as a guest. So visit the website, complete the request form, and we will be in contact with you to get you on as soon as possible. Once again, I thank you for tuning in to Kingdom News, hosted by none other, your girl Gwen Goolsby Tillery. I pray that you have a blessed and fantastic week. And remember what I said, by the end of March, no matter how that situation was looking, it's going to turn around. And you might as well just start praising God now because of how it's going to look by the end of the month. Thank you and have a great week until I see you next time.